That is fantastic. That is really great to see. Thank you all. Like I said earlier, if those of us with the plastic name tags are on the board, ask any questions of us about AITP. We also have these ambassadors. They've got a couple of gold stars. Ambassadors, if you guys could raise your hands. There's 3, 1, 2. Okay, just 2. Oh, Scott's not here tonight. So please find those folks, ask questions at all about AITP. They're very helpful in terms of just, trying to get a sense of who we are and whether you want to come back again. We would love to have you back again. And this is one of the ways you can do that. You can continue coming as a guest if you're here as a guest. We have a couple of different membership options. We've got a 3-month membership that you could do. That is discounted off the coming every single session. It's $90 versus $45. And obviously, you can also move that up into an annual membership as well. So we would really like it if those of you that are guests, if you enjoy the experience, please come back and join again. And also, if there's any of you out there that are corporate or maybe in higher education, we do have group membership options that are very flexible and can be used in a lot of different ways. So if you've got interest in that, see any of the board members. Becky, our membership director, is not here tonight, but you can email her and she can answer any questions that you've got. We have a whole bunch of new members. 9 new members have signed up in the last 30 days. So if you're a new member and you're here tonight, can you raise your hand? Any of the folks on this list? 1, 2. All right, excellent. That's great. Thank you for being here. Thank you for signing up as a membership for a member. 9 is a really large number for us on a month-by-month basis, so we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We do have a membership referral program. Just want to make sure everybody's clear on this. I've talked to a couple people about this tonight. If you are an existing member and you make a referral, make sure you send an email into membership, that's Becky, at AITP, and include the person that you're referring. If that person signs up for an annual membership, the current member will get 2 months extended to their membership. The new member will get an extra month. We have some people that are actually almost a whole year into, they've gotten a whole year of free membership because they've been doing so many referrals. And for us, that helps us a lot as an organization, but it also makes sure that we're keeping people in the community that are interested, right? You're being referred by somebody that's already a member. So I think that's a really great way to bring new people into the organization. So please do that. We have several different levels of sponsorship: Social Plus, Chapter, Foundational, and Sustaining. So if you've got questions about this, please see Jen. She's our sponsorship chair. And we've got a whole series of upcoming events coming up. June is our, skipping the May, I'll come back to that in a second. But our June event is going to be a joint event with the SIM, which is going to be held at the Carolina Exotic Car Club. We did this last year. It was a fantastic event. We had a great turnout for that. And I think it was a great networking event. It's a social only, so there isn't a dinner, although we'll have some finger foods and similar types of things. And we do already have a sponsor for that. Highline is going to be sponsoring the racing simulators, so that's great. So bring your racing driving shoes. Although we like the high heels and the Italian leather for all of us, but it's hard to drive in those when you're on those simulators. You can't really get your feet down. So please come try that out. It will probably sell out, as my guess, based on last year. So when we open up the open up the registration, please do it. And it is members only. So a small incentive to convert if you're a guest to becoming a member. You can even do the 3-month membership and get in on that. July 9th, it's still open. I think we've almost nailed that down, but not when I was doing the deck a couple of days ago. So more to come on that. August 13th, secure onboarding of AI. That's going to be here. Although we might go off-site, we're still trying to finalize that detail. We'll be able to announce that next month. Again, I think that's in the last 24 hours we figured that out. So before after I finish the materials here. And then on September 10th, we're open right now for speakers. So I'm also going to put an appeal out there. If you have a background in speaking or you have a topic that you would think would be really interested and you're interested in being a speaker, please see either of our two VPs, Chris or Jerome. They're going to raise their hands so you can identify them. Chris? There you go. So please feel free to see them if you're interested in speaking at all. And then next month, we've got our CIO Mac mentoring program. This has also become an annual event for us. Registration is open. I think there's already like 9 or 10 people signed up for this. We might have to cap it. We've actually hit capacity before on this. So if you're really interested in coming, I would encourage you to sign up early. Signing up early also means that we can get into the larger room. There's the QR code right there. Big, big print. You should be able to get that easily from the back of the room. And basically what it is, we have a series of senior level executives, and we have people arranged at the tables, and then the executives will rotate on a 5 or 10 minute schedule around the different tables, and it's essentially speed mentoring in a way. So the folks at the table can ask the leaders a series of questions, career types of questions about what they, how they got to where they did, what they think the industry is going and how it's changing, all of those types of things, and get a variety of really interesting perspectives very quickly and over the course of a couple of hours. So it's really an effective way to learn, an effective way to get information from a series of folks who have got 20 or 30 years of experience to share. So I encourage you all to sign up for that. And with that, Alex, you are up.
Let me do some magic with it.
So we're going to play with the computers here. Those of you that showed up a little early, we were definitely playing with some of the computers earlier. So I'm going to do something to entertain you. I'm not quite sure what that is, but we'll talk a little bit. Karaoke? Did I hear that? No, you do not want that. You good? Did you take it over yet? Are you plugged in?
Connected. Yep.
Okay.
I think we need to switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is this?
We got it.
Okay. You want my power? Are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep it just in case.
Okay.
All right.
And do you have your little? Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I got it.
Thank you.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight, and I hope that you'll enjoy my presentation about the architecture of modern AI systems. So I'll try to just scratch the surface today, because every aspect of my presentation can be extended to about 40 minutes or an hour each. So today we're just doing an introduction, and you can use any AI, modern AI tools to research more, but I'm happy to talk about any components. So I'll start with myself. I'm Alex, and I'm a wizard. So let me tell you why. Now, only about 2% of the world population is involved in software development, right? And only 7% of this 2% is doing AI. So they're developing AI systems, they're playing around with AI. And for everyone else, we're magicians. So we're wizards. In several prompts, in several clicks of a button, you create something that works. And I encourage you all, start doing this. Become a wizard. If you're not playing with AI yet, pick a problem. Get a subscription to any AI tool and start playing, start building. This will get you to the next level. This will make you a wizard. But yeah, I'll start with the evolution of AI patterns. It all started around 50 years ago. I worked for SAS, and SAS was the first AI native company. So I don't have it on my roadmap here, but SAS started to work with data 50 years ago. And then around 2023, the ChatGPT and other tools showed up as a consumer phase, right? So in 2023, it was a monolithic app. You can interact with it, but there is no memories. There is no conversation history or anything like this. It was still a magic, right? You ask a question, it answers you. You don't need to go to Google. You don't need to go through this infinite amount of commercial pages and everything. So that's where it all kicked off. In 2024, they introduced RAG layer. RAG layer is a memory layer, right? So you can have conversation history now, the AI systems would adjust to your conversation style and things like this. Right now, it's a completely different level. In 2026, like probably 3 months ago, we got agents, we got models, we got orchestration and everything. But right now, we're here. We don't know what's going on. Every week, the new tool is getting introduced. Every week, the new framework is getting introduced. And I actually had to tweak my presentation twice within the last 2 weeks because I learned that there is something new on the market. But yeah, I'll start with a diagram that I created probably around 3 months ago. It was a simple diagram for a simple AI application. And I'll try to tell you how to build AI applications the best way, right? So it all starts with user, then we have orchestration layer, which is an LLM, then we have execution layer, which would execute some tasks for you. And things that were recently introduced are AI agent skills, AI contracts, and MCP servers. So MCP servers were probably introduced 4 or 5 months ago, and I'll start with this, right? So what are the MCP servers? If you're in software development, you know what API is. So MCP servers, in simple words, are wrappers around APIs. Don't quote me on this, because they're not. It's much more, but it's a standard protocol for agents or models to work with downstream systems. It's a standard thing to just pull the data from databases, external APIs, files, systems, and whatsoever. And again, you can wrap several endpoints, several API endpoints into one MCP tool or MCP server. And then the next thing that was introduced probably about a couple of months ago is agent skills. So historically, I mean 1 year of history. Historically, agents would pull a lot of context, right? So, for example, I'll be showing you the restaurant search app that I created. But if you use one agent and you tell the agent, hey, go and find me a good restaurant in the area, it would pull a lot of data. It would start Googling on Google Maps. It would start doing the some other tools like TripAdvisor or something like that. So agents is actually, agent skills is actually like guardrails or limitations that you put on top of your agent. So whenever you schedule a task for an agent, it would go and search on the library and it would pull the particular information. So for example, if we need to get the menus from the restaurant, it wouldn't go and search for all the restaurants. So it would go and search for the menus. So it's kind of guardrails to reduce the context window. And then we got to AI contracts. So how many times you guys put something in ChatGPT or ask something in ChatGPT, and the answer is all different, right? So sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's something else, sometimes it's Google Maps, sometimes it's everything else. But AI contracts is actually guardrails to standardize the input and output. And I'll show you the example of the AI contracts a little bit later. I'll do a quick demo. So this is the app that I built myself. And it took me about 3 hours to create the code. It took me 3 weeks to figure out the infrastructure underneath. So the code is getting cheaper. And my advice for you, start learning infrastructure, start learning architecture. That's why I'm doing this presentation. So the QR code is the app. It's on the internet. The only thing I'll need from you is just like $100 or something. I'm just kidding. It's free. But yeah, let me jump into a quick demo. I hope that it works. I'll put my microphone down for a sec. So this is a restaurant discovery app, right? And it's just an agent on top of several other tools. So what I'm gonna do, I'll locate myself first. So I'm in Raleigh, and I want to have a good restaurant based on my preferences. All right. Now the whole magic happened under the hood. It didn't work because my preferences were not saved. So I would say I want meat and I want cheap. Probably would say go to forest and get some squirrels, right? All right, so you can see right now the output of the request or prompt I sent. First of all, it's structured, right? So you can try and do this, do the same in ChatGPT. It will be completely different. And every time you send a prompt, it will be completely different. So those are actually the AI contracts in action. We standardize the way that the output is for us. And it will be always the same because we have some guardrails around it. All right, I'll get back to my presentation now. Oh yeah, so I'm going to show you the next diagram. And the next diagram looks a little bit more complicated. So I asked ChatGPT to create me a picture for the well that escalated quickly. So well is escalating quickly. And this is the diagram. Probably it's hard to see in the back row, but that's how it looks like today. Actually not, because within the last 2 weeks, there are 2 more components introduced, virtual MCPs and code mode. They're both in beta state right now, but they're expanding. So the one thing that I want to say, every tool or new tool get introduced every week. New model get introduced every week. So keep learning, keep trying, keep listening to the podcast, keep going to the events like this. You need to learn. But yeah, I'll just walk through the layer one by one to show you what every layer does here. So it all starts with user and orchestration layer. In our case, user can be you sending the prompt or your agent sending the prompt for you. So it's just like an input, a payload. And then we have an orchestration layer. Orchestration layer can be a language model, can be a small language model, large language model, or a tool. So for example, you can use LangChain or Llama index for it. And in most cases, what it would do, it would optimize your prompt. I'll get to the optimization point a little bit later, but for example, when you send a prompt with, hey, can you give me some restaurants, please? You don't need words, hey or please, in your prompt because it's tokens. And when you build an AI system, those tokens are getting sent to language model and you're paying for these tokens. So whenever you're building it, remove things like this. Keep the context just for a particular prompt. And then there is model gateway. So it's route to optimal models. In modern systems, if you're building one, you can have more than one model in your system. It can be a large language model from Google or Anthropic or ChatGPT. But at the same time, you can have several small language models hosted on your infrastructure. And I'll get to this a little bit later. Then we have the execution layer. That's where the magic happens. So whenever we get to the execution layer, we have a workflow engine that coordinates the task execution. So in our case, when we do the restaurant discovery, the user send the prompt, hey, based on my conversation history, I want to have a nice dinner with my wife somewhere, right? And workflow engine will actually schedule those tasks. So because there's several ways that we can go through this, right? First way is just go to Google Maps, query like 100 restaurants over API, send it back to language model, it will convert it and output. We don't want to do this because it's an infinite amount of tokens, right? That's why you'll see just 3 outputs based on your preferences. So workflow engine would just manage the dependencies, handle retries, and things like this. It goes together with the state management. And state management, in our case, it's just a cache, right? So you need to cache. You need to cache the data as much as you can. So in our case, it can be Redis or Pinecone. And then agent skill library, which probably will go away pretty soon with the code mode. But agent skill library, as I said, it will limit the amount of context window for your agents. So they only search or only do the task that they need to do. They need to search for restaurants, or they need to search for the menu, or they need to search for the Google Maps, how long it will take you to get to the restaurant, right? So you don't want to get your agent to browse through 100 restaurants, building crowds to every of them. So it's just a limitation for your agent. And then we have worker extraction and worker formatting. So those actually are tools that work with AI contracts to get the constant output to your user. And now we're getting to the memory layer. So memory layer is another important part that was not there in 2023, and that's why the systems was not so reliable. So you need to have several types of memory within your system. First one is the short memory. It stores the information or conversation that you're having right now. So it stores the dialogue that you're having right now. You don't want to write it into the long-term memory because it can change, right? So user can say, hey, I don't want to meet, I don't want something else, and I don't like this, I don't like this. So whenever you have an ongoing conversation with your agent, store it in the short memory. And then whenever the user closes this window, you can actually transfer it to the long-term memory. Long-term memory can be a database or something where you store the information about each particular user, their conversation, their preferences. And then you can retrieve this, so user don't have to repeat like the things every time that I had to repeat, right? Because this agent knows that I will have meat and I love it cheap. I don't know why it didn't retrieve it. Probably some database is down. I'm using MongoDB, so probably not the most reliable database. And then we have retrieval layer, right? So it's a RAG layer that would pull all the information for a particular user or a particular task and combine it together. So RAG layer is a really important part of your app. Caching layer in this case is a layer that actually spreads across your app. So whenever we have, let's imagine that it's like an Italian conference somewhere in New York City, and everyone like, hey, I need a pizza restaurant near me. So let's imagine that you have 1,000 people searching for Italian restaurants near you. Do you want all these tokens to fly through your system, overloading it? Or do you want just to pull information from the cache? So yeah, cache as much as you can. Put it somewhere on top so all the requests are not getting to your LLMs all the time, because it will save a lot of tokens for you. Then we have MCP server that actually connects to database, external APIs, and file systems. So whenever you need to pull information from Google Maps, if you have your internal database with some cool menus that you don't need to download every time, or if you have file system, I'm not sure if anyone has file systems anymore, but yeah, MCP can do it. And again, I'm just scratching the surface, because presentation about MCP is 40 minutes. Presentation about database or memory layers is just 40 minutes. So I'm happy to talk about it a little bit more. But I would encourage all of you to read about code mode. So code mode was just introduced by Cloudflare, and it's in beta test. It's available right now, but what it's doing, it's spinning up a virtual environment every time you interact with an agent. So you don't need MCPs anymore. It would write a code in the isolated virtual environment with a terminal. So it can be in Docker, it can be virtual machine, but every time it just spin up the small infrastructure component, execute the code, do whatever it needs to do, convert it and return it. So it can replace a lot of things like AI contracts. It can replace things like MCP and things like this. So code mode is something that I'm really excited about. And then the new layer that was recently introduced is virtual MCPs or VMCPs. Why MCPs are not enough? Because why not, right? Let's build something on top of it. And yeah, it's a gateway. So you need authorization, you need authentication, you need orchestration. So a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. We have a layer cake here. And that's what AI systems are actually turning into. All right. Now we're getting to one of the most important layers, the cross-cutting layer. Because if you just have system working in production, it's not enough, right? So how do you know if users are happy? How do you know that everything is flowing good? How do you know that you're not overspending on the tokens? So you need to implement the cross-cutting layer or observability layer. So it starts with with telemetry. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter if you're building an AI system or you're building a regular system. Work on observability. There are so many tools that can be integrated natively. You don't even need to do any configuration. So if you're building AI systems, you can take Langsmith. Datadog has integration with everything, right? So it can pull a lot of data for you, so you can see how it's flowing. And then evaluation or feedback layer. Obviously, you want to see what the user journey is, right? You need to understand what the feedback from the users are. If you ever played with ChatGPT, there is thumb up and thumb down, right? So whenever you press this button, it would go to the evaluation and feedback layer. And you don't need to do it yourself, because there are so many native AI tools like Label Studio or human loop things that can take it, analyze on a big scale, and output the results for you. And then if you have agents, they can fix those things for you. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you like vote on my restaurant app, thumb down, I have an agent that will constantly monitor it, and it would go and fix the code for me. Obviously, you need guardrails and safety, right? So if you're building a restaurant app, you don't want people to search guns, or you don't want people to use it to write Python code or something, because my restaurant app is connected to Gemini model. So potentially, if you ask to write a Python app, it would just go and do it. But I'll have to pay for tokens, right? I don't want to do it. So That's why we implemented guardrails. So this is the thing that prevents from unauthorized actions or actions that should not be there. And again, there's so many native tools that can all of you doing this out of the box. But you can also write some functions yourself. Do you guys write code yourself anymore? I don't. So yeah, we have those AI agents. They can write the code for you. And as I said, I created the app within 3 hours. In most cases, it was just prompts. And obviously, authorization and multi-tenancy layers, if you have an application that is used by multiple tenants, just must have, right? And now I'll probably talk a little bit more about the best practices and how you can make your system even more reliable. So first one is the right sizing of your models. And this is the thing that I probably talked about 5 minutes ago. So it all starts with large language models. You don't need to have a large language models or host large language model yourself. You can use one from a big provider like Anthropic or OpenAI or anything like this. And you can use it as a first entry point, as an orchestrator. But at the same time, you can host your small language models. There's so many of them right now on the market. The recent one, I don't remember the name, but I'm so bad at names, but probably I need a small language model for myself. Just to store the names. But yeah, you can train it for a specific purpose, right? So you can train it just for restaurant discovery, or not just for restaurant discovery, for menu discovery. So in most cases, it can just, the language model can say, you can save a lot of tokens by redirecting traffic to model that you're hosting. And then I think that's one of the most important part, because yeah, we'll lose our jobs pretty soon, so we don't have money to pay for tokens anymore. Then we need to optimize the token utilization part. So first of all, as I said, minimize context. Whenever the prompt comes in, cut it, tag it. You need to have only relevant things there. Cut all these swear words. Your app doesn't work. Yeah, I know, whatever. So you don't even need to send it to LLM. You can have a predefined response to this. So keep stable prompts and try caching them. Second thing is use code mode. As I said, I'm super excited about it because in this case, you can save a lot on your infrastructure and spin up just virtual agents whenever you need them and kill them when you don't need them. You can also run workflows in parallel. It doesn't help with token optimization, but it helps with making your app actually much faster. So whenever agents querying database or whenever they're getting information about restaurants, you can have several agents running in parallel. One is getting the directions, one is getting the menus, other is getting the prices. So yeah, it will make it much faster. And cache everything, because data is expensive right now. So the more you cache, the easier it is to retrieve it. I'm not a data scientist. I hope there are some data scientists who can prove that I'm wrong, but it's really hard to separate static data from dynamic data. So this is the big challenge. And if you guys are looking for a startup idea, create something that will help you to identify what kind of data is dynamic and what kind of data is static. Yeah, and there's some other things like local context per worker or route to right sizing model, right? So that's what I said, like large language models versus small language models. And another thing that I'm really excited about, I used to play with blockchain a lot and was distributed computing. And now those things are getting into the agent space. So one of the most important things that will make your system or any agent more reliable is consensus or voting algorithm. So whenever you have several agents working on a task, they can be connected to different models, they can be connected to different sources, but an independent agent can suggest a solution and other agents would vote for it. So they can criticize it, they can score it, and then you can set a threshold. So if this suggestion doesn't meet the threshold, agents would reiterate and suggest more and more and more. So it's like a brainstorm when you're in the room and someone is suggesting something, right? And you start criticizing and reiterating. But if it takes you about an hour or two to get a solution, for agents, it will take seconds, right? So it's a distributed computing thing, but I would definitely recommend you to read about consensus algorithm. The planning part is also important, right? That's why we need to have an orchestration layer that would plan the execution of every prompt, of every task for you. And tool use, right? I cannot give you an advice on tool use because there's so many tools right now. Just research and make those tools pluggable, right? So whenever the new tool comes in, you need to unplug the old one and plug the new one in. Don't lock yourself to a particular tool. Don't lock yourself to a particular vendor. So yeah, we're getting closer to the end of my presentation. The 9 pillars of 2026 stack. So MCP, skills, orchestration, observability, small language models, contracts, memory, human in the loop. We still need it, right? Probably tomorrow it's not a case anymore. And have fun. It's the 9th pillar. Again, the systems are so accessible right now. You can build anything with $20 and 3 hours. I think you all have both, right? So just go and play it. Go and play with it. Yeah, that's pretty it. I try to make it quick. I try to make it short. I plant the seeds for you to research, and I'm happy to talk about any of my slides. I'm not an AI expert, and nobody is, because it's changing so fast that, yeah, we cannot keep up with this. This is my LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with you guys. This is my podcast. Scan, subscribe. So we talk to AI founders. We talk to people who work with AI, and it's pretty fun. Thanks, everyone. And if you guys paid attention, we have a quiz. Yep. And we have some prizes from our sponsors. So we got a couple of baseball hats, a bottle water. How much is this? $10? All right. You can change it to some tokens, right? Or you can use Duncan AI agent to write some Python code, because they don't have guardrails. I checked it. All right, so the only thing we need, as usual, is just your social security number, your credit card number, and everything like that. So I promise not to share with anyone except of my agent. No, I'm obviously kidding. I just scan random QR codes all the time. We're gonna have 10 questions, pretty easy. But it's not just about the right answer. It's about the time you spend to answer the question. And the first 4 places will get some hats and card and something. You can pick one, whatever you want. This laptop is not included. I'll give everyone 1 more minute to join. But yeah, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you will understand why the presentation was so short, because I see that the attention get lost with all the AI tools, right? So it's much easier to get access to information. It's much easier to open your phone, go to ChatGPT, and ask all the questions that you need. Sometimes it's wrong, but sometimes presenters are wrong, right? So if you saw something wrong on my presentation, I'm happy to discuss it. All right, guys, I'll start it, and we'll still have QR code if you want to join. Yeah, I'll start with the first question. What is the main role of an LLM orchestrator in modern AI system? Planning and coordination task, storing all application data, rendering UI components, or orchestrate humans so they behave? All right. I love the 3%. Obviously, it's the first one. All right. What does MCP primary enable? Faster GPU training, standardized tool and data access, macaronis con pimento, making API finally talk to each other after years of silence. Yeah, the last one can be a good thing, but it's just standardizing that talk, right? What is an SLM typically used for? Replacing large language model in the system, handling narrowed, well-defined tasks with lower cost and latency, only formatting text and nothing else, or being small but emotionally ambitious? All right, everyone got it right. It's always the biggest answer, right? What the purpose of AI contracts? Manage housing market, prevent agents from going nuts, define expectations for input, output, and behavior, or replace APIs. All right, everyone got it right. And this quiz was created by an AI agent, so don't be mad at me if there is something wrong there. What are agent skills? Hard-coded backend features, database schemas, reusable capabilities agents can call to perform tasks, or things agents claim they have but never use. Sometimes I think it's the last one. It can be hard-coded backend features, but it's a little bit more dynamic. Memory replace database fully. Oh, this one went nuts. Sorry, guys. I think it put an answer instead of the question. That's cool. Just answer something. I think everything is wrong. We're not there yet. AI is not replacing us. All right, it's still 76%. Awesome. What is the key benefit of parallel processing in AI systems? Increased token usage, makes code harder to read, lets agents do everything at once and still miss the point, reduces latency and improves performance. All right. All right. What is short-term memory in an AI system? Permanent storage for all user data, temporary context with a session, a way to back up database, where important things go to be forgotten quickly. Do you know that the goldfish actually has a better memory than an AI agent? You can Google, it's a fact. No, guys, please don't Google. Go to ChatGPT. All right. What is the role of code mode in a modern AI system? Replace all backend services when the AI agents panics and start coding everything. Allow agent to dynamically generate and execute code to solve tasks, or for simple static responses. It's according to my presentation, not according to the real world. All right, I think it's the last one. What is a consensus protocol in AI systems? When agents argue until one gives up, a way to reduce token usage, a debugging framework, a way to ensure that agents agree on a single decision. Agents will never give up. All right. Well, let's see who got it. Jason. All right, come over here, pick a prize. Just grab one. Yeah, thanks for the sponsors. Keith. Woo! You can pick one. All right, you got the tokens. Bill. Bill and Adam, you guys can come over. Bill, pick first. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty it from me. Thanks everyone again. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk. I'll be here. So if you have any questions, concerns, my name is Alex, and I was your speaker for tonight. I'll hand it over.
Do we have questions, Alex? There must be some questions out here. All right.
Do we want to hand over the microphone, or
You can yell.
all right?
in a way that I'm guessing would be reduced in a lot of those kind of areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, code mode is a pretty new thing. I didn't have a chance to play around, so I understand the basics. Yeah, so let's imagine that in my app, the user is, the user got the responses for the restaurants. And then the user is like, hey, I actually want something closer to me. So what we can do, because now you need to go all over the search again and everything, the agent can write a code to calculate the distance between the user and the next the next restaurants close to it, and then just make the make the filtration of things that are more relevant to the user, like Indian cuisine or something like this. But instead of MCPs can do it as well. But I'm still unclear on this. Are we going to replace MCPs with it or not?
So it doesn't necessarily reduce the usage, it just allows maybe the usage of it that is more valuable.
Yeah, exactly. So it can combine data. It's like you can whatever you can write code for, pulling data from API, pulling data from database. I don't think that it can write super complicated code on those virtual machines, but the main advantage of it that it's isolated, right? So it's secured. No one else has access to it. So agent can have access to this machine, probably tokens and like API keys and everything, and that's pretty neat. Yeah.
So you mentioned you were using Pinecone for your vector database, right?
I'm using Redis.
That is for vector.
Yeah.
Normally there's two parameters, one word result return and the relevancy threshold. If you get one of those wrong, you get not enough context, you get it too general, you get wrong context as well. How do you go about solving that problem so you get enough of those context?
So in this case, it goes back to language models. I have not optimized it for on the token usage yet for my app, right? But in this case, we're just sending it back to the language model that will process and request more information from the user if needed. Anyone else? Cool. Go ahead. I use the Anthropic models. I think the world changed on November 24th when the Opus was released, Opus 5 was released. I stopped coding on that date, so yeah. And I'm the manager, I don't code at all. What?
Put 5.x on extra higher high and try the model.
Yeah.
Then you'll see the difference.
I'll try, yeah. Thanks.
In one of your slides, you talk about taking all your work, effective smaller tasks, use of DAG. Is there a particular tool or a lot of user interfaces, they draw it out so you can kind of see the flow of where it's going to come in, and usually it's very kind of pull it all together for like some type of reporting, like summarize all the different tasks so that you know that everything ran successfully.
Yeah, in my case, it's orchestrator, right? So I use, as of now, as I said, I'm not optimizing tokens. This is something that I should be doing, but it's LangChain and the Google model, the Gemini model. So they work together. So they orchestrate and they split those tasks. They create the diagram, the graph for the execution, and they send it to the workflow engine that will plan it and execute. I'll upload my project to GitHub and share the link when I polish it a little bit because it's a lot of bad code there, and I don't want to put bad code there. But yeah, I think everyone will have access to it.
One more question.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about AGI? Is that going to be?
It's my opinion that everything is a thing, right? So whatever was created is a thing, right? But it depends on what kind of problem are you trying to solve with it, right? So, for example, if we're talking about the OpenClaw, right? I don't use it because I don't need it, right? So I don't want to give access to my emails, to my calendars and everything because you see, it messed up the quiz. I'm like, no, I don't want to use it. I played around with it for this quiz and it messed it up. So I don't want all my contacts to get an email from me saying that I'm dead or something. When I didn't check my phone for a day or so. All right. Thanks, everyone.
I did have one quick question.
Yeah.
Some of our audience is less technical. So what advice would you give them in terms of the exploration and playing if you're not quite as technical in building or your own applications? What questions might you ask of the development community or other things from a more business perspective?
And this is the question that I love to answer because, again, it's much more accessible right now. Pick a problem that you have. Just one problem, doesn't matter what. So for example, when I started to play AI with AI, it was 2 years ago. My son was just born and we ran out of diapers, like no diapers. I'm like, oh, how did this happen? So what I did, I bought a small sensor, I put it on Diaper Genie, and I asked an AI to create me an app that would count the number of times we opened the lid for that Diaper Genie. So on every 80 openings, it would send a request to Amazon to get new diapers, a new set of diapers. That's it. So it took me probably like 10 minutes, but it was a problem that I wanted to solve. I didn't write a single line of code. I used ChatGPT. So my advice is pick a problem, something that bothers you at work, somewhere, and then just start with ChatGPT. You don't need a subscription. Put an action plan. And then if you realize that you need to write some code, you can get VS Code. It's free, right? So start get VS Code, and then you can get a subscription for better models. Like I'm using Cloud Opus. It writes awesome code. And then start learning about the infrastructure, because writing the code is not enough. Probably it's good for small tasks like this when it's isolated. But then in my case with Diaper Genie, my son realized that he can just open the lid all the time. That's where you need to put more guardrails, right? So, so you don't get like 5 boxes of diapers on your on your front porch, because yeah, it is what it is, right? So start small and then evolve it, and it's cheap, it's accessible. Just don't be worried. I mean, even non-technical people can do it. My neighbor is 85 years old. He creates videos with ChatGPT right now, not ChatGPT, with Grok. So yeah, start with this, and then you'll see how it all goes.
Question.
I've been doing exactly what you're talking about. So instead of building a 3D system, and you have a lot of access to the API and open from that to the API. It's actually building some Python scripts and all this. One of the other things I wanted to do, I wanted to backtest data to see code effect. Essentially, like last year of data gave you 2 grades. Now, if I want to troubleshoot something, there's some kind of resources that I can access or I'm pretty technically savvy, but I'm not.
And my answer to this, is there any kind of resources? There is, there are. Just ask ChatGPT or ask any model that you're working with, right? So explain your case. I mean, as I said, there's no experts in AI right now. There are people who know AI, they're wizards, but they're not experts. But yeah, ask ChatGPT, hey, I have this case, I need to test it, right? And it depends on your infrastructure. Probably unit test will be enough. The one thing that I want to test is that you're actually sending those in secure way to have guardrails, so your trading app wouldn't spend all the money from your accounts to, I don't know, blockbuster stocks or something. But yeah, and when you're playing around with AI, the last thing you want to do is give access to things that are in production, right? Your emails, test it first, make sure that it works. Create a test account on Gmail, create something else, just make sure that it works. Make sure to implement those guardrails. And guardrails will actually vary. So just ask the same model, hey, I need guardrails, create it for me. And another trick that I can give you is that whenever I create some code, I would create a new session and ask another agent to review the code. So yeah, and in most cases, it's pretty accurate. It fixes a lot of things. Even with the best models, it happens that things like this, where there is no question in that, or just answers. Yep.
What do you think the future software as a service is? You don't need to
I work for SaaS. We're software as a service, and we've been there for 50 years. And now I'll just talk about some of the customers of SaaS. They're still using software that was created in the 90s, in early 2000s. And they don't want to migrate because they went through the audits, they went through the security and certifications and everything like this. A lot of government agencies wouldn't migrate. So software as a service will stay. It will transform a lot. But I don't think that it will be happening in the nearest future. 10 years from now, it will be a completely different world. But right now, I mean, I think we're still secure. But one more point on this. It will be much easier to create proprietary software like with agents and maintain it. But you need to know how to create it, right? So you need to make sure that it's secured. You need to make sure that it's governed, that's audited. Because if you're like NC state, obviously you don't want to lose all the data that you have, right? If you're, I don't know, the DMV, right? So you definitely don't want all the license plate and everything just leaked on the internet or published on GitHub because the agent decided to write some unit tests, and unit tests were on GitHub, right? So now all the data is on GitHub. So guardrails is the key right now. Yep.
How is AI being used in SaaS, like in your software engineering?
I mean, AI is everywhere right now. Obviously, right now we're using it as an assistant, right? So we ask to create code, we review code, we create unit tests. So one thing that, for example, my team is doing, we're back on unit tests. Our unit test coverage is not enough for our code. So we're just using models to create unit tests for us, run those unit tests. But we're not merging it to production, obviously. We verify everything multiple times before because we cannot trust those agents yet. And I think a lot of, yeah.
So you're saying that you're just creating the unit test and you're not creating code. Is that what you're saying?
Without the review, it should not go to production. For the systems that, yeah, anything should be reviewed, right? So you cannot, don't do it, please. You can, yeah, don't put anything like in production without proper review.
So your software engineer process hasn't changed. It's just that in individual engineering level,
It's changing, right? So I don't think that SaaS is a good example because SaaS actually loves to write things by themselves, right? So we love to create things in-house, and there are so many things that were created a long time ago, and they're not evolving. It's really hard to migrate from them. But other companies that are more like open source facing or using products, licensed products like CI/CD, like Jenkins or something. I know, like I worked for another company before, and what we've been doing, we've been migrating from Jenkins to GitHub Actions. So we created a small agent that converted all our Jenkins pipelines to GitHub Actions. And yeah, it changed a lot. But it depends and varies from company to company. But other thing that we're doing at SaaS, and I think any company that is doing, is integrating AI within the products, right? So Copilot within your SaaS offering. That's how I think the SaaS, not SaaS, but SaaS, software as a service, will change. You will have Copilots. Users will be spoiled with chatbots and everything. So I'm spoiled with it. I don't want to click through UIs anymore or anything like this. I want to interact with Copilot. I don't interact with Jira. I don't interact with Confluence. I don't interact with GitHub. I have MCPs for it, and I have Copilot window that will do everything for me.
Alex, I got like two questions.
Yeah.
The second one is a weird question that you would probably never expect in a forum like this.
All right.
So the first question is, you talked about how we would use one model against the other to like build consensus. Do you think these LLMs from all these companies, are they not building them all on the same data sets, the same kind of underlying fundamentals? It's like human knowledge gathered through 20 years of indexing and crawling and stuff. Why do you think there would be consensus, more consensus. I would think there would be more consensus in that versus more disagreement.
Just be careful with the cable.
Yeah, let me take this, and I think there are multiple answers to this, or multiple layers to this answer. First of all, yes, the underlying data is just internet, right? So you just put everything there. But the other thing that I think is the data is modern gold, right? So companies who have data, customers' data, medical data, or anything like this, it's not on the internet. So this kind of data is sold for a lot of money. You don't know that your data is sold like from Duke House or something. It's sold, right? So it's sold to those AI companies, and whoever pays more, they get the data. So yes, publicly available data, it's the same, but some other data that is not publicly available is different. It's the first thing. Second thing is the fine tune of the model, right? So yeah, you can train your model on the data, but then you need to fine tune it to make it more accurate, to put the guardrails within the model itself. You also need to make sure that it's not hallucinating, right? So, and there's still a lot of hallucination there. Even when the agents, one agent suggests a solution, it's not even an LLM, right? So it's an agent. It just acts on behalf of LLM and on behalf of some other data. It suggests a solution. And then other agents can see, hey, that's actually not going to work because you're putting like production API key into GitHub. So we're criticizing it. So other models can see it, right? So that's why I think consensus algorithm will work. We know the same, right? So, but we have different opinions on things.
I mean, that's the same thing, right? If a room full of people say, like, this is a duck.
Yeah.
That's a duck.
Yeah, exactly. And consensus algorithm came here from blockchain and distributed computing, right? So I've been playing around with oracles. So oracles is a distributed network of connectors that connect real world with blockchain. So let's imagine that we have 10 thermometers in the area, and 10 of them are saying it's like 55 degrees outside. But one of them is saying, no, it's 80, right? So, and all those nodes are actually talking to each other and saying, hey, that node is not right. Something is wrong, probably bird sitting on it or something, right? So they would disconnect this node. Same with an agent, right? So consensus algorithm is not new. It's just like getting adopted here. Yeah.
Second question. This is a weird one.
I love this.
So if I were to invest $100,000 today, what is your opinion about that gentleman's question? Would you invest that money in all these SaaS companies like Microsoft, SaaS, I mean, not like the AI companies, not the AI layer, but the traditional software as a service companies? Would you invest in those companies?
So I'll tell you my personal problem. I'm the opposite King Midas. Whenever I buy stocks, they would like go down. So I think I need to start publish it on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm buying Tesla. So in a week, just start buying Tesla. Don't buy it now, buy it in a week. I'm really bad in this. So probably.
The question is not about money.
Yeah.
The question is about where these companies are trending.
So I personally think it's not a financial advice or anything, right? So if we're just speaking as a friends, OpenAI has a really strange model. They don't have enterprise offering, right? So it's all based on the private subscriptions. I don't think that they're generating enough profit. But Anthropic, they have a completely different model, right? So if I choose between OpenAI and Anthropic, I would invest in Anthropic. But right now, what Elon Musk did, he combined everything like Grok, X, Boring Company under SpaceX, right? So now everything is there. So you're investing in SpaceX, but they have Grok, X, and everything else, right? So that's a smart move because they will be getting money for SpaceX, but at the same time, directing the flows.
The AI stuff, and I get it, probably all of this really is invested in AI layers.
Yeah.
Would you touch the traditional SaaS workflow companies like Pega, like Microsoft?
I mean, whoever's supporting other AI things.
What do you feel like their business models would be like?
Oh, it's changing, right? So, for example, Meta just released a new model. I'm not sure how good it is, how bad it is, but again, I'm not a financial guy at all. But why not invest in Meta? Because whenever they release some new model, the stocks will go up, right? So, but yeah, I'll probably spread the portfolio a little bit.
Maybe a related question. Over your guys' question. the way, like, back in the day, like in the late 90s, everybody like had an internet, right?
Yeah.
A search, engine or something like that.
Yeah.
But only the best two probably like came up, kind of like came up, everything else died, and then Google just dominated. Everybody did Google,
Yeah.
right? Do you see like, I mean, do you have projections on who would that one or two companies would be, or would we be like fighting for the next 50 years for us?
I don't have a strong opinion on it, honestly, because right now to write software and to create something is much easier, right? So you can have like 3-4 people instead of army of 100, because 5 years ago to create an app like I created, it would take probably a year or two, right? With only a UI and unit test and everything designs. Right now it's 3 hours, as I said, right? So obviously the software is getting cheaper. I don't know who the main players will be. Obviously, it depends on the bigger investors. But yeah, Google had a pretty good strategy. They would just acquire startups and kill them, right? And they build something on behalf of them. I think the same will be happening, right? Acquiring big startups and and kill them.
Because it's unsustainable, right? I mean, if everybody is writing an app, which app do I use? Do I write a super app like to go all over all these apps, right? So at some point, it's just like the iPhone. You have like 1,000 apps on it. You're probably using only 3 or 4 in a day.
The question would be, would you really need to use those software, right? Would you really need to use ChatGPT as an UI, or you can just send several prompts and create an app for yourself, right? That's what I'm going, right? Why I created this app? Because me and my wife, we love to go out on Friday, but we're like tired of the restaurants around. So I'm like, all right, I'll ask ChatGPT, and the response was not so good. And then I'm like, all right, hey, I got those restaurants. I send it over WhatsApp or text message to my wife. Do you like any of them? She's like, no, let's check something else. So the feature that I implemented there is a group chat. You can add as many people as you want, and you can collectively talk about it. That's the problem I solved for myself. So that's what will be happening in the next several years. That's why I encourage you to play around with AI. Solve a problem that you have. Don't let this big company win. Hey, we got 2 more questions. Yeah.
You talk about kind of enabling the ease of creating your own app when you're in an enterprise setting. It's like there's the element of I don't want to turn on chat or Claude for an enterprise, but then you still have shadow IT or people doing it. So you enable it now, and you enable everyone in the company to create applications.
Yeah.
A million uses. What do you see as the kind of leading thing that enterprise needs to pay attention to for control? Maybe not controlling that, but like, how do you enable people that are building apps everywhere for a production ready?
Architectural reviews, right? So you still need to have architectural console that will approve things for you, especially in the enterprise, right? And you don't need thousands of people. You need a couple of agents that would pull all the information. They will create a report for you saying, hey, I think those are good, those are bad, go and check, right? So that's where the human in the loop actually comes in, right? The final approval. I think that's where it all going. But yeah, you cannot, I have a big team, right? But I encourage everyone to play around with it. Obviously, just on isolated systems, right? Not obviously in production, on isolated tokens. We don't need, so first of all, don't give access to the like personal environment variables where you have passwords and keys and everything. Give access only to an isolated like part of your computer, right? Or virtual machine, and then play around with it.
What happens with 8 billion people?
Everyone gonna die. That's it. No, I think this morning I've been listening to a podcast called Intelligent Machines. I love it. So, and they interviewed a guy who is introducing the concept of human 3.0. Just Google it. Don't Google it. ChatGPT, whatever. Human 3.0. It's a next concept, right? So eventually, I think people will get to do what they love to do, right? So you love to write code, you can write code. You love to play games, you can play games. You love to write cars, you can write cars. The other question would be, how do you get money? That's I cannot answer, unfortunately.
I think we had one more question.
Yeah.
Do we have one more question in the center, or you all set? Okay, great. Alex.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
So a little token of appreciation, Alex. It's a little plaque for you.
Ooh, awesome. Thank you.
Looks like I love it. And don't forget, I'm going to put the registration up here for next month. So hang out for just 2 seconds. We'll have a QR code so you can register for next month's Mac Roundtable. And thank you very much for being here tonight. Appreciate it.